The presumed victory. The Xarian Empire had never known defeat. For 3,000 cycles, they had swept across the galaxy like a cosmic storm, their gleaming warships bringing civilization after civilization under their purple banner. Their latest target was a small system on the outer rim, home to a young species that had barely begun to explore space, the humans. Commander Vexus stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship Supremacy, his 6 eyes surveying the tactical displays with practiced confidence. The initial scans had been promising. A single inhabited world, 3 small colonies, and primitive ships that could barely achieve faster-than-light travel. "This will be quick," he declared to his crew, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. "Begin the invasion." The first battle took place near Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The humans had established a research station there, studying the ice-covered oceans below. When the Xarian fleet arrived, they expected token resistance at best. Instead, they encountered something unexpected. Human ships were crude compared to Xarian vessels, but they fought with a ferocity that caught the invaders off guard. Their weapons were primitive projectile-based systems, yet they had been modified in ways that Xarian engineers hadn't anticipated. Railguns that could punch through shields, nuclear missiles with yields far beyond what their technology should allow, and most surprisingly, kamikaze tactics that no rational species would employ. The Battle of Europa lasted 3 days. The Xarian won, but at a cost far higher than predicted. Commander Vexus watched the tactical replay with growing unease. "They fight like cornered animals," he muttered. Mars fell next. The red planet hosted humanity's largest off-world colony, with nearly 1 million inhabitants. The Xarian expected the colonists to surrender after witnessing Europa's destruction. Instead, they found a planet transformed into a fortress. Every crater held a gun emplacement, every canyon a trap. The colonists fought not just with military precision, but with civilian ingenuity. Mining equipment repurposed as weapons, atmospheric processors converted into chemical warfare systems, and underground tunnels that seemed to stretch endlessly beneath the Martian surface. It took 2 weeks to pacify Mars, and even then, resistance continued in isolated pockets. The casualty reports made Commander Vexus' scales turn pale. The humans had lost nearly everything, yet they had extracted a price that made his superiors question the wisdom of the invasion. Finally, the fleet turned toward Earth itself. The blue planet hung in space like a jewel, its surface scarred by millennia of human activity. The Xarian demanded surrender, offering terms that were generous by their standards. Surprisingly, the humans accepted. The ceremony took place in orbit above Earth. Human leaders arrived in a battered diplomatic vessel, their faces grim but resigned. They signed the documents of surrender with what appeared to be genuine defeat in their eyes. Commander Vexus felt a mixture of relief and disappointment. After such fierce resistance, the end seemed anticlimactic. News of humanity's surrender spread across the Xarian Empire like wildfire. Victory celebrations erupted on 1,000 worlds. The Emperor himself declared a week of festivities to commemorate the addition of another species to their glorious dominion. But something bothered Commander Vexus. The numbers didn't add up. Earth's population was listed at 8 billion, yet the census after surrender showed only 7 billion. The humans claimed the discrepancy was due to war casualties, but the math still seemed wrong. More troubling were the reports from the outer system. Strange energy readings in the asteroid belt, unexplained ship movements near Neptune, and whispers of human activity in regions that should have been empty. A month after the surrender, a junior officer approached Vexus with a disturbing report. "Commander, we've detected massive energy signatures in the asteroid belt. They match human fusion reactors. But the scale, it's impossible." Vexus reviewed the data, his unease growing into genuine alarm. The readings suggested industrial activity on a scale that dwarfed anything they had seen on Earth or Mars. How could a defeated species maintain such operations? He ordered a reconnaissance mission to investigate. The scout ship Swift Claw departed for the asteroid belt, its crew eager to solve the mystery. They transmitted regular updates as they approached the coordinates of the energy signatures. Their final transmission would haunt Commander Vexus for the rest of his days. This is Swift Claw. We found, by the ancestors, they're everywhere. Ships, stations, entire asteroids hollowed out and converted into. Wait, they've detected us. Multiple contacts inbound. These aren't the ships we fought before. These are. Oh no, there. The transmission cut off. The Swift Claw was never heard from again. In the following days, similar reports flooded in from across the solar system. Hidden bases on moons they hadn't bothered to scan thoroughly. Stealth ships that had been watching them since they arrived. And most terrifying of all, references to something called the Deep Space Fleet that operated far beyond the solar system's edge. Commander Vexus stood on his bridge, staring at the mounting evidence with growing horror. The humans hadn't surrendered because they were defeated. They had surrendered because they wanted the Xarian to stop looking, to stop fighting, to believe they had won. The real war was about to begin. And the Xarian Empire had just realized they had been fighting only a fraction of humanity's true strength. The 7 billion on Earth weren't the sum total of the human race. They were just the ones who had chosen to stay behind. As alarms began to sound across his ship, as sensor contacts multiplied beyond counting, Commander Vexus understood the truth. The humans hadn't just been defending their home. They had been buying time for something larger. Something that had been preparing for this moment for generations. The Xarian Empire thought they had conquered humanity. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The true face of humanity. The first sign of trouble came from Ceres, the largest object in the asteroid belt. What the Xarian had dismissed as a lifeless rock suddenly erupted with activity. Massive doors, cunningly disguised as crater walls, slid open to reveal shipyards that stretched for kilometers into the asteroid's core. From these hidden facilities emerged vessels unlike anything the Xarian had encountered. Commander Vexus watched in disbelief as ship after ship poured out of Ceres. These weren't the crude vessels they had fought at Europa. These were sleek, advanced warships that rivaled or exceeded Xarian technology. Their hulls bore strange markings, not the flags of Earth nations, but symbols of mining corporations, research institutes, and something called the Belt Alliance. The truth began to unfold in intercepted communications. While Earth had developed along traditional lines, a second human civilization had grown in secret among the asteroids. The Belt colonies, founded by miners and scientists who had ventured into space seeking resources and freedom, had evolved separately from their earthbound cousins. They had developed technologies adapted to life in zero gravity, innovations born of necessity in the harsh environment of space. The Belt Alliance had watched the Xarian invasion with cold calculation. They had allowed Earth to bear the brunt of the attack, using the time to complete their preparations. Now, with the invaders believing victory was theirs, the true strength of humanity revealed itself. But the Belt Alliance was just the beginning. As Xarian sensors probed deeper into the outer system, they detected more anomalies. The moons of Jupiter and Saturn, previously thought to be sparsely populated, housed thriving colonies beneath their icy surfaces. Ganymede alone supported 50 million humans in vast underground cities. Then came the most shocking revelation of all. Beyond Neptune, in the darkness of the Kuiper Belt, lay the crown jewel of human expansion, the Deep Space Fleet. For over a century, resources had been secretly funneled into this project. Entire asteroids had been converted into mobile fortresses. New technologies, developed far from Earth's oversight, had produced weapons and defenses that seemed to violate the known laws of physics. The commander of the Deep Space Fleet was Admiral Sarah Chen, a woman whose family had lived in space for 4 generations. She broadcast a message to the Xarian Empire. "This is Admiral Chen of the United Human Systems. You believe you conquered us when Earth surrendered. You were mistaken. Earth is our birthplace, but it is not our home. Our home is the stars themselves. You haven't defeated humanity. You've merely awakened it. The counter-offensive began with surgical precision. Xarian supply lines, stretched thin across the solar system, found themselves under constant attack. Ships would emerge from seemingly empty space, strike, and vanish before retaliation was possible. The humans had mastered stealth technology to a degree that Xarian thought impossible. The Battle of Titan showcased humanity's true capabilities. The Xarian had established a forward base on Saturn's largest moon, intending to use it as a staging ground for deeper expansion into the system. Instead, they found themselves besieged by forces that seemed to materialize from nowhere. Human ships used Titan's thick atmosphere for cover, diving in and out like submarines in an ocean. They had developed engines that could function in the methane-rich environment, turning what should have been a disadvantage into a tactical edge. The base fell within hours, its defenders overwhelmed by tactics they couldn't comprehend. Commander Vexus received reports of similar defeats across the system. His proud invasion fleet, once thought invincible, was being systematically dismantled. The humans weren't just winning battles, they were demonstrating a level of strategic thinking that put Xarian military doctrine to shame. The turning point came at the Battle of the Oort Cloud. The Xarian had called for reinforcements, and a massive fleet had assembled at the system's edge. They expected to sweep in and crush the human resistance with overwhelming force. Instead, they flew into the largest ambush in galactic history. The humans had spent decades seeding the Oort Cloud with automated weapons platforms, disguised as ordinary comets and ice chunks. When the Xarian fleet arrived, these platforms activated in perfect synchronization. Thousands of mass drivers, particle beams, and missile systems opened fire simultaneously. The Xarian fleet, caught completely off guard, suffered catastrophic losses. Ships that had conquered entire civilizations were torn apart in minutes. The survivors fled in disarray, their confidence shattered. In the aftermath, Admiral Chen contacted Commander Vexus directly. Her holographic image appeared on his bridge, her expression grave but not triumphant. "Commander, we need to talk. Your empire has learned a valuable lesson today. Humanity is not what you thought it was. We are not a single world to be conquered. We are a distributed civilization, spread across this system and beyond. You fought 7 billion humans on Earth, but there are 3 billion in the belt, 2 billion in the outer system, and another billion scattered across various outposts and ships." Vexus struggled to comprehend the scale of what she was describing. "Why?" he asked. "Why hide this from us? Why let Earth suffer?" Chen's expression softened slightly. "Because we needed to know what kind of conquerors you were. If you had shown mercy, if you had offered genuine partnership, things might have been different. But you came as conquerors, and so we responded as warriors. Now we offer you a choice." The negotiations that followed would reshape the galaxy. The Xarian Empire, humbled by their defeat, agreed to humanity's terms. The solar system would remain independent, a testament to the price of underestimating a species. But more than that, a new alliance was forged. Humanity, it turned out, had been preparing for more than just the Xarian. They had detected signs of other threats in the galaxy, dangers that made the Xarian Empire look benign by comparison. The distributed nature of human civilization, their adaptability and innovation, made them ideal partners in facing these greater challenges. A year after the invasion began, Commander Vexus stood beside Admiral Chen on the bridge of a joint human-Xarian vessel. They were heading beyond known space, exploring regions that both species had feared to enter alone. "You know," Vexus said, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully, "my people have a saying. The greatest victories come from the hardest battles. I think perhaps we needed this defeat to truly understand what victory means." Chen nodded. "We have a similar saying. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Your invasion didn't kill us. And now, together, we're stronger than either of us could have been alone." As their ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying representatives of both species toward an uncertain but hopeful future, the truth of humanity's nature became clear. They were not just survivors or warriors. They were explorers, innovators, and when necessary, the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because of their weapons or their numbers, but because of their indomitable will to not just survive, but to thrive among the stars. The Xarian Empire had thought they were conquering a primitive species confined to a single world. Instead, they had encountered a civilization that had already claimed the stars as their birthright. And in learning this lesson, they had gained something far more valuable than conquest. They had gained an ally for the challenges that lay ahead. The galaxy would never be the same again.